Yay. Well, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. It's the Lavender Lady again here on the Sunday stream, and haven't had one of these in quite a while. Big question has been on my mind lately for quite a while, and I thought I would bring it out into the open. I've heard from very many people um, that democracy itself is in danger here in the U.S. And I don't know, call me um, paranoid or whatever you want to call me. I kind of lean in that direction myself, and I have heard from these people that it is imperative to get out there and vote lest we lose what little we have left. And from others, I have heard just stay home. And from a third group, I've heard, vote your conscience, basically. And it's I've been in some discussions and really haven't solved anything in my own head yet. And I thought I might bring one out here in the public and have another discussion about it. And who knows? Maybe I'll learn something, and maybe I'll learn something to change my mind. And to help me out with that, we also have the absolutely brilliant and lovely Kate Farr, also known as Bionic Dance. Hi, Kate. How you doing?
I have definitely been worse. How about you?
Yeah, tell me about worse. Things are hopefully getting there, hopefully improving, and I'm happy that things are improving with you as well with the little procedure there, and I can hardly wait to find out whether or not you can have coffee again.
Oh, I miss coffee a lot less than some of the other things I'm not allowed to eat, but I developed a taste for it as soon as I realized you can make it not bitter anymore, and I wouldn't mind having some of those, like, vanilla rock star coffee drinks. My gosh, those are good.
I don't know that I've ever heard of one of those.
Actually, I don't know if they even exist anymore. I haven't had one in about a decade, but oh my gosh.
Oh my. Um, okay, now I remember talking with you a few weeks ago about this. And you are, do I have it correctly that you're, would vote your conscience be a good way to describe you, or do you have a
That
better
is
way of doing it?
definitely That is definitely the way I describe myself. Or I suppose it might be better to say that I will not vote against my self interests. I'm definitely not the sort who will vote for party. I'm not blue no matter who. Oh, I
Okay.
can barely hear me. I don't know if that's my fault or.
Oh, let me look at the, oh, no, wait a minute, not those settings. Let me look at another set of settings here, and maybe we can improve that slightly. Okay, I will turn you up a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'll turn myself up. Okay, how's it sound now? The
Yeah, how do I sound? Can you hear me now? And we're going to have to wait a few seconds before. I hate that delay. It'd be great if there was no delay.
Yeah, definitely. The latency's a killer.
Yeah. But apparently no one's responding, so either they can't hear me at all and don't know I asked the question, or they're just fucking with us. I don't know.
Okay, you can still barely hear Kate.
Let me
Um,
check my own settings.
okay, we
Let's
can go
see,
for
let's go with
that.
that. Recording devices. Yeah. No, well, hmm. It looks like I'm as high up as I should be here.
Let me check. Let me check.
Try that. See what happens.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea what AGC means. Maybe this helps.
AGC. If it's the AGC I remember, would that be automatic gain control?
Yes, yes, that would be it. Okay.
Okay, there's that. There's this. Let's
It's
see.
going slightly louder. I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I'm looking here at my settings. Everything is still on default.
I
Uh,
got the impression I was just fine on the last stream we did earlier this morning.
yeah, and I really haven't changed anything. That's what amazes the heck out of me. Um,
And I mean, I'm looking at my sound levels as I speak, and they're definitely going into the right range. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, let me look at the. Oh, come on here. I need to. I'm shuffling through windows after windows here.
Okay, I've turned on the stream, and yeah, I can barely hear me either. And I'm also very buzzy.
Yeah, the reason you're buzzy may or may not have something to do with the fact that you are going
Oh
into
wait,
the.
no, hold on. I'm getting it. Sounds like me.
Sounds like you?
Yeah, I don't know what changed, but it sounds like I'm good now.
This is really weird. What
Yeah, they're saying much better. Okay,
I
so
did
anyway,
I did change something. I actually turned down the level that was going out to the audience. And I don't know, maybe that did
weird.
it. All right,
Okay,
where
well,
were we?
in any case, what I was saying is that yes, it would be fair to say that I vote my conscience, or perhaps more accurate to say that I don't vote against my own self interest. I don't vote specifically for a party. I will look at what each candidate stands for. And if they are going to act in a way that makes me think this will improve both my life and the lives of other people, I will vote for them. I mean, if it turned out that there was someone out there who was calling themselves a Republican, but it turned out that their policy was like Medicare for all, end the wars, no more big business, et cetera, I'd be like, well, I don't know why you're calling yourself that, but you're the candidate for me, right? Whereas if you get
Okay.
another Democrat who's like, well, let's keep doing the wars, no Medicare, et cetera, who cares about a living wage? It'd be like, well, I don't care what you call yourself. I'm not voting for your ass. That's why I didn't vote for Hillary in the last election. That's why I voted third party, because it's like Lewis Black was saying in one of his routines: is you're basically handed two bowls of shit, and the only difference is the smell, right?
Okay. Yeah, now that's the biggest question I have is what happens when none of your choices are really any good and you stand to lose a lot with the worst of them.
Well,
And
I mean, that's the thing is you hear people say like, well, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils because otherwise you get the greater of two evils. That's how you get someone like Trump. And I'm like, okay, but if you keep voting for the lesser of two evils, the message you're sending is I can be intimidated. The message you're sending is that other people, like if the other people are worse, I will vote for you no matter how bad your platform is. There has to be some way to send them a message saying the reason I didn't vote for you is because of you,
mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
it, like you need to be a candidate that I can vote for.
I think you and I are a lot closer than I originally thought we did when we first started talking about this. Um, but the thing is, as you say, you cannot allow the candidates or the politicians to get the message that you're just going to take whatever they throw at you. Um, I'm wondering though if, for example, on the 7th, I have the feeling that I'm going to be walking into the voting booth and basically pressing the button on whoever it is that I think is the least of the possible evils. And really, whatever we've got out there this time around is not altogether the greatest. I mean, here in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey isn't all that bad as a senator. He's not all that good either. Um, but he does seem to be somewhat rational. At least he's not trying to define me out of existence. I don't know if you saw the latest news where the
Yeah,
administration is
I've heard
wanting,
about that sort of thing. Yeah,
and
it's
and
fucked up.
it if you really want it scares me. I'm frightened.
Yeah, it sounds very sort of, well, let's say it, Nazi-esque.
Yes. Hmm.
I mean, we're not hearing about camps yet, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, and when you get to that point, you know things are bad. 20 years ago, had I been thinking about camps, I would have looked in the mirror and I said, well, I wouldn't have called myself Clarion at the time, but I still would have said, hey, you, what are you doing thinking about this? We may not be the greatest in the world right now, but we're not that bad. And now when I think about it, it's like it could happen.
Well, I mean, between that and like the jobs problems, and let's face it, they're probably going to start coming after the rest of the LGBT spectrum if they can do this.
Of
Uh,
course they are.
part
Yes.
part part of me has made me go, I've been like, where can I go that's not the United States anymore? There were times before I moved to San Diego, I was seriously thinking, like, what's England like? What's Australia like? Because I'm not sure I want to be in this country anymore. There are definitely times where I'm like, yeah, I got to get the fuck out of here. Now, granted, as much fun as England sounds, I looked into the weather and it's very much like Seattle, so I can't do that.
Oops.
Um, but and I would totally do Canada if it was warm, but it's not. And so
Right.
it's like, I mean, if I really wanted to leave the United States, I would be thinking like, I don't know, perhaps New Zealand or Australia or something.
Okay, and I'll tell you, you would have a heck of a better chance, probably, of emigrating than perhaps I would, because I'm on the government dole. I'm really not making my own living in any way at all. I mean, you're. We were talking this morning that you're not fabulously wealthy or anything, but you're definitely better off than I am. And those countries that really would like to have you make your own way, which is essentially all of them, they're not exactly going to welcome somebody like me. Um,
Well, I suppose that's possible. But I mean, regardless, because we're kind of off topic a bit, it's like the voting, right? Now, on the 7th, I will, in fact, not be going into the voting booth because I've already early voted. So,
Yay! Yay!
yeah. But the thing is, they did not make it easy. Like, there was this voter pamphlet, right? And sure, it lists all of the candidates for like the major offices that are happening, and that made it pretty easy because I could look them up and I could look at what they stand for, and there were actually a lot of really good ones. In fact, amazingly enough, there were a number of races where there were only two Democrats running and no Republicans at all, which was like totally crazy.
Oh my! Now that will happen here from time to time. Well, not necessarily here in this little borough where I live, but in the city of Pittsburgh, you would very often have local races uncontested. They're not a race; they're uncontested. And
Yeah.
hang on a second. Okay, cough, cough, cough.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
the thing is, though, is like there were a lot of candidates that are lesser races that were not in the voter pamphlet, and I had to like scour the internet trying to find like who am I voting for, what do they stand for, and then there were all the weird like propositions and referendums and shit. Where I'm like, what is this even about? You're using that sort of legalese party of the first part sounding shit, and I had
oh
no idea
boy.
what I was voting for. And then I would look at the like the arguments for and the arguments against, and they all sounded good. It was like, here's a reason to do it, here's a reason to not do it, and I agree with both of them. What the fuck do I do? So wow, did they ever not make it easy to fill out that voter pamphlet or that voter ballot?
Yeah, I've run into the same sort of thing kind of myself from time to time. Um, Especially here in the local races, the very minor races, the city councilman, the excuse me, the state representatives and senators. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing to find out what they're doing, and in an election like this one, that's basically what's going on. So it's really all you've got, and then okay, how am I going to do my voting here? And that's another thing, folks out there. The races in the odd numbered years and the even numbered years, not divisible by four, they do count. Okay, and
Yeah, that
it's
is one
it's
thing. Is like people don't like to get out to the elections that don't have a president in them.
yeah, and I find this very unfortunate because a president, um, unlike a certain president I can think of would want it, is not the entirety of the government.
Yeah.
There are things called, there are people called senators and people called representatives, and there are state races to consider, and there are municipal, you
And
know.
governors
Yes, let's not
matter
forget
a
about these
lot.
guys. Yes, and here's where we've got a big problem with governorships, state legislatures. They're very, very heavily not rational. Very, very heavily would like a totalitarian type government. Most people would say they're very, very heavily Republican, which is the case, but Republican and totalitarian don't necessarily run hand in hand, although they often do, unfortunately.
Does seem that way.
And I will slap myself like that because I was a Republican. I registered as a Republican for years and years and years. Believe it or not.
I don't even know if I'm registered as a member of a party at all. I mean, if I am, it's Democrat, but I don't remember doing it.
Yeah, you guys can get away with that, right? Because you can still vote in your primaries, can you?
I've never voted in a primary because I don't know how. Like, I've never seen, here's your primary ballot, or go here to vote in the primary. I've never seen that happen.
Oh
So,
my, okay, because it's straightforward here in Pennsylvania.
oh, well, that's
It,
also another thing is I've only been living in California for 2 years. So, I'm mostly talking about Seattle and Vermont.
okay, okay, fine. And for
Yeah.
some strange reason, I thought you were in California more longer than that. But
Oh, no, no. This most recent October 6th marks the my second year anniversary here.
oh my. Well, hopefully you like it.
So far, yeah. I mean, it's not as easy to make friends here as it was in Seattle. And also, there's a couple of other things. Is like I had this great club to go to in Seattle, and I didn't realize how spoiled I was. Because, I mean, okay, granted, I'm not goth, but so many of my friends were. But in Seattle, being a goth is completely different than anywhere else because it's mostly just a bunch of geeks who want to be scary instead of nerdy, right? So you put on some black clothing and you go and you fit in. That's just all there is to it, right?
Okay.
And the thing is, the club I went to was really laid back. It was really just sort of calm people chatting, maybe playing a little pool, whatever. And now the clubs near me here in San Diego are all oons, 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 and there's no like elbow room at all, and it's like you'll have that line stretching down the sidewalk to get in. I'm sitting there thinking, wow, do I ever not want that in any way?
Oh
But
my.
but at the same time, I don't have an equivalent to what I was doing in Seattle. So I don't know. I've found a couple of like gaming groups to be part of, and I've got that atheism booth I go to on Saturdays. But otherwise, it's really difficult to meet people here.
Oh my. That this is unfortunate. Definitely unfortunate. But I noticed that Mark Seizure says having to register with a party to be able to vote is just stupid. And unfortunately, that's the way the primaries work in Pennsylvania. They are closed primaries. And
I mean, I almost get why they would do that because if one party wanted to sabotage the other, they could send a bunch of their own in there and say, "Here, vote for the shitty one," right?
there have been discussions about that sort of thing, about getting together and doing that sort of thing. And the worst of it, uh, I call it worse than that, is what I saw recently. I'm trying to remember which state it was where the Democrats who won seats in the state legislature caucused with the Republicans. They were essentially Republicans wearing D on their lapel.
Well, it seems like a lot of Democrats are that already anyway.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I have to say that it's not an easy thing to vote for candidates because yes, you are voting for not very good in most cases. This last presidential election, I was so thrilled that there was somebody I could actually vote for, and it's unfortunate that he did not win the primary.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because everyone's hearing about Bernie Sanders recently, except I was raised in, well, he was mayor of Burlington for a really long
Yes,
time in
yes.
Vermont. I was raised in South Burlington, but I got to see like Bernie Sanders my entire life. Through my whole childhood, I knew who he was. And so when he started being like a presidential candidate, I mean, I don't feel patriotic very often, but I was like, hell's yeah, Vermont, rock on. Right? If he had been president, I would have been like, oh my gosh, look at what just happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is me following from my childhood this one dude who then ended up president from being a mayor. It would have been awesome. But no, of course, the DNC had to go, no, Hillary's a shoe in. There's no way anyone will elect Trump. So, yeah.
Yeah, they found out. Let me tell you, and that's one of the things you cannot do is get cocksure,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to find yourself looking at exactly what you did not want to look at. Now, how does something like this sound? Does it sound practical to you at all? What I was thinking of was, okay, we vote the least of the evils that has a chance of winning because that's all there is right now. But at the same time, come November 7th, we start looking for better candidates, promote better candidates, understanding that we're going to have to start small. We're going to have to start in the municipalities, in the state legislatures. You know, you just Donald Trump is an outlier. You usually don't step into a presidential race and take it. Um, he's definitely not the usual. Um, Usually you'll have to fight your way up the ranks, that sort of thing. But would it work if we kept doing that sort of thing? Looking for the good candidates, promoting the good candidates, trying to sort of build the ladder up and making the least of the evils better and better as we go along, even by the smallest increments. Um, do you think that has a chance at all of working?
For several reasons, no.
Okay,
And
let's hear them.
well, I mean, number one, the fact that it's going to take time, we don't have time. Right now, the planet is fucked. I mean, we just with the whole like pollution
Mm-hmm.
and climate change and all of that. I think they said it's like 7 years we have, maybe it's four, to make sure that the progress of uh, uh, like the heat buildup is stopped and then reversed. We only have a few years. We have like one, maybe two elections left before the planet is past the point of no return. So no, we don't have time for that. But number two, unless like a definitive message is sent that we cannot tolerate these horrible choice candidates, these damned if you do, damned if you don't, two bowls of shit elections, they're never going to learn. It's not. I mean, we can't just do this incrementalism because, uh, like everything will just keep getting worse and keep getting worse and keep getting worse, and uh, assuming that it will eventually get better if we keep trying to slowly do the right thing, I think is foolhardy. It's not going to happen. And I mean, it
What?
just I think that what we really need, and
And
I
I was
think
just
we
about to
have,
ask, so thank you
and
for going that way.
I think we have it now. Actually, is we need a disaster of epic proportions to wake people up, to shock them out of their complacency, and make them start like voting, but two, not vote like idiots. Right, and so I think Trump will actually end up being the undoing of the extreme right because enough people are going to be going, what the fuck just happened? What did we do to ourselves? We can't have this happen again.
Uh, do you think offhand that that's got enough of a shot of working? Because I'm I'm hoping it will, and at the same time, I'm so afraid it won't. And
It's the
and
only
and
thing.
if it doesn't work, we're just fucked.
Well, yeah, but I think it's our only option. I don't see any way that small incrementalism can possibly work.
Okay. Um, Guys out there in the audience, what are you guys thinking? Let us know here in the comments. Mark Caesar, to do that, you'd need to get money out of politics. Yeah, you would. And I don't know that that's going to happen anytime within the next.
Well,
Maybe it
actually,
won't happen before I'm dead.
there are a lot of candidates now who look at what Bernie did and how popular he was and said, "Yeah, I'm not accepting any corporate money." There's a lot of, like, even just here in California, a lot of the candidates I was looking at, you'd have, like I say, those two Democratic choices with no Republican challenger, but one of them would say no corporate money, and the other one would just sort of not mention it at all, which was kind of telling, right? So you kind of knew who to not vote for at the very least.
Okay.
So there are a lot of candidates out there who are learning that taking no corporate money is a sell point. It's something you want to do.
And unfortunately, Pennsylvania still thinks of itself as a political machine. Um, the way the Chicago machine was, or the Philly machine. And no, it's not like that anymore. And it's not doing them any good. It's not doing us any good, especially us. So you've got it a little better, maybe in California than we do in Pennsylvania. I don't know about the other states out there. There are 48 of them, besides the two represented by you and me. Um, so,
Well, here's the thing. Now, okay, granted, I don't think this has a chance in hell of happening, but there is a movement out here called Calexit. And
oh
basically, what it
yeah,
is, a bunch of people are saying California should secede entirely from the United States, just not be part of it anymore, form our own country. And I'm very curious what would happen. If I have any guess, any accurate guess at all about what Trump would want to do over that, he'd probably declare war. Probably would,
he
yeah. But at
he's
the
not the
same
only
time,
one.
what?
He's not the only one. I
Oh,
have read articles in past years that discussed, what would happen if California decided to secede, and every article I had read on that subject eventually got down to bombs and rockets.
yeah. But at the same time, if it were to come off peacefully, if it actually happened and there was not a big like military to do about it, I wonder what it would be like to be living in, I don't even know what we'd call ourselves, the first Republic of Canada or some shit, or Canada, California or some shit. I don't know why I said Canada. But also, some of the people in the same movement have been hearing rumblings from Oregon and Washington about, hey, maybe we should all just form our own little country on the right hand, or sorry, the left hand side of the United States. The West Coast just completely
Yeah,
breaks. And
I,
I would actually, I'm curious what life would be like as what, the West Coasties? I don't know. Whatever we'd call ourselves. That's actually something I've wondered about. Like, if the United States realized, hey, there's more to America than just us. We're not the only Americans. There's also South America and Central America and yada yada yada. What would the United States call itself? The USAians? We'd be the what? We're not Americans anymore because we're like
well, it
realizing
depends on who you
we're not
talk
just
to.
America. I don't know. I'm just wondering, like what would people from the U.S. call themselves besides Americans if we like got our heads out of our asses about that one?
Yeah, it's really difficult to get the heads out of the asses with the U.S. citizens because, well, it's commonly accepted worldwide, except when you get to certain border crossings between the U.S. and Canada, that we are Americans. That's our oh, I was just looking at the word uh, demonym.
Okay.
that's our demonym. There was the one point when I was crossing north into Canada many years ago. You know, the person at the border crossing, citizenship, American. What country? And it's like,
Mm.
okay, U.S.
Well,
You know,
I had someone say, well, obviously you'd be the Yanks, like what British folk often call us derisively, usually.
mm,
And I'm like, well, I'm not even really sure what a Yankee is exactly. I've never looked up the origin of that particular word, like why that's a term at all in the
I
first
did I
place.
did a long time ago and I forgot it all.
Yeah.
But then again, well, you'll jump all over me for this one. There could be the Yangs and the Combs.
Huh?
That was the episode of the original series in Star Trek, where you
Oh,
had the two groups of natives fighting each other, and Yangs and Combs happen to be Yanks and commies, that sort of thing.
I do not remember that episode even slightly.
I cannot remember the name of it, unfortunately, but I mean, I could look it up, but I'm kind of lazy.
But I mean, in any case, yeah. So I think it would be interesting to be a Californianite or whatever we'd call ourselves. I think that'd be really kind of cool.
Yeah, and I have also seen suggestions of the three states you had mentioned, the California, the Oregon, the Washington, affiliating with Canada if the
Yeah, I've
Canadians would
heard that
have you
too.
guys. Yeah. Now
And
that would have a half a
honestly,
chance of working.
there's nothing wrong with Canada that warming it up and nuking Quebec won't fix. I would love to be like seriously, if California was part of Canada, I'd be pleased to call myself Canadian.
hmm Yeah, it's the Quebecois that get on my nerves.
Ugh, I was raised within screaming distance of the Quebec border, believe me. And also, if you're from New England, they're not Quebecois, they're Quebecers.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing about living. I don't know if it's all of New England, I think it is, but in Vermont, there are a lot of things that we just don't do with regard to like French Canadian culture. For example, a pronunciation of French names, because a lot of people in my class, for example, had French names, but they were all pronounced phonetically, right? Like, you know how you
Okay.
have like the name Devereaux, but it's got all those X's and shit in it. Like no one would say Devereaux, it'd be Deverox or some shit. There was a Jason Desjardins and a Bonnie Dubois in my class, and that's what they called themselves,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So that's one thing. That it's just. Oh, also, if you can make sure that someone from Quebec doesn't get a parking space, do it. Because
Oh,
because they would take all of ours. Like when they would come to Vermont in summertime, they would snork up all of the parking spaces, and they'd get really grouchy at us if we didn't speak French to them. And I was like, dude, I don't speak your language. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm pleased to be kind to you, but if you're getting in my face about not speaking your language, I'm sorry, you're a jerk. So,
I tried
yeah.
speaking French once and it just didn't work. I actually tried learning French years and years ago, and all the letters are silent, and the
Mm-hmm.
ones you do pronounce, you have to have a mouthful of some nasty substance in order to get them out. I'll stick with German.
See, okay, I don't really like German or any of the Romance languages simply because of noun gender. It makes no sense. It doesn't help in any way. It just gets in the way of knowing what the hell you're supposed to say.
I
It's like I mean, was it French and Spanish? They'll have masculine and feminine nouns, and then like German has fucking three of them with masculine, feminine, and neuter. And what do they help? What do they aid to the language? They just make it more confusing. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it's I don't know where the grammatic gender came from, the grammatical gender. Um, Now
So
I didn't have much of a problem with it, and it's really weird because I'm usually not good at memorizing things. I don't
Mm.
know if it's that the gender did not, I didn't, it was a different process with me, or if for one reason or another I was good at memorizing that. I mean, one thing I do love about German is the grammar, the cases, declining. Um, Word order is absolutely fluid in German. Um,
Hmm.
English is basically what is it now? SVO, subject, verb, object. In German, it makes absolutely no difference. I'm getting a little offline here, but as an example, the boy threw the ball.
Hmm.
Der Junge warf den Ball. Okay, now if you wanted to emphasize that it was the ball that the boy threw, you could say den Ball warf der Junge. If you
Hmm.
transliterated that into English, you would get the ball through the boy, and you're what? What's going on here? But that object, that article, Dane, in front of the ball, indicates that it's the accusative. It's the yeah, it's the accusative case. It's the direct object. So you know that that is the thing that's being thrown.
Well, don't even get me started on Klingon grammar.
You know,
This is
you were
seriously
mentioning
fucked up
this
shit.
morning.
But no, I mean, I like Japanese best so far. Of all the languages I've tried to learn, Japanese is so technical that it's like you never don't know what the hell you're doing, right?
Okay.
It's just so precise, and it leaves out so much of that nonsense, like the noun gender stuff. It's just not there. They never came up with it. So
Huh.
it's a great language.
Someday I may have to try to learn it.
I mean,
Um,
like way back when in the 80s or whatever, they thought that Japan would rule the earth because of computers and stuff.
okay.
Okay, well, I can see why the at least stereotype of Japanese people being great with computers came from, because their language is like a programming language.
It
I
might
mean,
well.
like just the logic of how it's put together feels like you're programming a computer.
So, as long as I could get the vocabulary down, it might not be that bad for me to learn.
Totally.
Oh, my. Andrew Bowen with Japanese, they always put the verb at the end. Mark Twain made the same complaint about German. You know, gather all the verbs together, throw them at the end. And I love that. And I sort of turned it into, I haven't got it down yet. There's a certain grammar, if you want to call it that, that I've kind of developed over the years, whose express purpose is to make the simple as complicated as possible. For example, it is for this thing that am I to wanting to that is am I to wanting to doing to making that sort of thing. And basically what I just said is I want to do
Yeah.
that. I
So when it comes to language secretary, I am definitely not voting for you.
okay. There we go. There we go. Oh man, yeah, that's I wish I could. I really wish I could. I want to. I really want to. God, I want to. I just can't afford to do it. Um, because I
What,
was,
run for office?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, that's the thing is I think that I could conceptually do the things that a person who works in government could do, but the specifics, the paperwork or whatever. I mean, I don't know what a governor does all day. Like you sit in that governor office and you're doing governor things, and that involves what precisely? What does a day at work look like for someone who is in a public office? I don't know.
Yeah, there, as I think you had said it once before, all the little procedural things that you've got to learn, and I don't know if there's a way to do it other than on the job, and
Well,
maybe.
I'm sure that a lot of these people were like interns or something at some point where they got to see all of it before they decided to run for office.
Yeah, you've got that point there too. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I guess that's one of the reasons the current U.S. president, one of the reasons the current U.S. president is so shitty at his job. Not the only one, but one of
Oh,
them.
of course not. Well, and it
Um,
doesn't help that he bankrupted 6 companies before he ever became president.
yeah, um, because I mean, there are times when I'm so frustrated that I cannot trust anyone else to do a decent job. I've got to do it myself, and I've never been good at delegating. Um, but I'm on friendly terms with one of the people not too far from me. He's mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania. Ran for Senate in 2016 here in Pennsylvania. Got to talk to him and learned a lot about the campaigning. Yeah, because he lamented that he raised something like between six and $700,000 in the primary. Hang on. Oh my. Between six and $700,000 he raised, and he was still outspent 15 to 1. So it's a matter of how do you manage to get all that money, and then of course in the position I'm in, how do I afford to feed myself when going on the campaign trail? I'm probably telling all of them that I really don't deserve my dole check, and they pull that out from under me.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing is I know that I'm not the door knocking sort. Like I suppose I could be at a rally, but eh. I mean like I know it might sound weird to say it from someone who makes videos all the time, but I'm not really a public speaker. There's a reason I like to do my videos where I can edit them.
Yes.
Because, gosh, the number of times I've said something completely stupid and douchey, and I realize that's what it is, and I have the time to go back and go, you know what, I'm going to rescript that part of this video. But if you say that as a candidate, it's on the record forever, especially now that we have the internet. Nobody will ever be able to say anything ever and not have it be out there to the end of time unless there's some sort of like electromagnetic pulse that wipes out everything, but that's another story entirely.
Yes.
Point being is I wonder how anybody will ever get elected ever again simply because someone will go on to Google and find the record of how much porn they've purchased, and
Yeah.
someone will say, look at what you did when you were 14. Do you really think you can be a government official? And they're going to be like, but. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be really weird in the next couple of decades whether or not people can actually get elected to office at all, just
Yeah.
on moral grounds.
I mean, you can think of me whatever you want with this one, and you can even you better tell me what you think of me when I say that we lost a perfectly good senator over that sort of thing in Mr. Franken.
I was never 100% certain about him. I mean, I seem to vaguely remember some of his policies making me go, are you fucking kidding me? But I don't remember which ones they were because it was a while back.
Well,
And also,
he wasn't quite Dennis Kucinich.
well, and also it probably doesn't help that my first exposure to him was him doing comedy. And so,
Mm-hmm.
there was this sketch he did with someone else where he was playing a comedian who had been hit on the head and had brain damage, and so he was like going to try to attempt to tell jokes, and everyone was like, let's give him a big hand and help him out here to tell his jokes. And he got out there, and one of the jokes he tells one joke where he goes, "Did you hear about the rabbi who didn't charge for circumcision? He only took tips, right?"
Okay,
And
fine.
and so then every time he tried to tell another joke, he wouldn't be able to finish it, and he would just give the same punchline. He only took tips. That was like the whole routine was about him being brain damaged and only saying one punchline. And now all I can see when I see him on the campaign trail is he only took tips. That's all I can see when I see Al Franken. And so, like, that doesn't help my confidence in a guy when
Okay.
that's all I can think of when I look at him is that routine.
Okay, I get your point. Um,
Yeah.
and here I'm thinking that, well, at least he wasn't.
What, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Who's who? Strom Thurmond.
I know very little about him except his name.
Yeah, Dixiecrat.
Oh yeah. Okay, that guy.
Yeah. Um, that's when the Democrats were the bad guys.
Hmm.
Yeah, all those things they keep saying that. Yeah, remember that it was the Republicans that were anti-slavery and all that. Yeah, that's before the ideological switch back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why when I hear someone say vote blue no matter who and all of that stuff, I'm like, but you do realize what the Democrats used to be, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can't just vote for the damn party. You have to look at the issues. But I mean, even if you could get people out to vote, and a lot of people are like, yeah, it's too much effort. I don't want to go out to vote. Like, even then, they're just going to lazily poke D or R without really looking at the candidate either way,
Oh
aren't they?
my. Yes,
So, I mean, it's just like, that's why, like I said before, it felt, well, I didn't actually say this here, I said it on Facebook, but it felt like so much work doing my voting because I had so little to go on. That voter pamphlet described so little. And so, like, I spent like an hour on the internet trying to research the candidates I was voting for. And eventually, I started to want to just go you without really even thinking about it. And I'm just glad that you're allowed to leave like spaces blank because
yeah.
there were times where I just didn't even understand the issue. There was this whole thing. Okay, should this one particular judge be not constrained with the yes constraints of the no with term limit things? And I'm like, okay, what is the current state of term limits with this particular judge? Are they running against anybody? Why don't I see another name here? And why are we only talking about their term limits? And yada, yada, yada. I had no idea what the fuck I was voting for. And there was
Hmm.
no way to figure it out because it wasn't in that pamphlet, and the internet was not being very helpful. And when it was, it would give it to me in these like weird abstract terms that someone who hasn't gone to law school couldn't understand. It was just, oh,
Sorry you have to go, Andrew, but be that as it may, take care and be good, and let's hope that things go well into the future.
and
Take
don't get
care.
horribly burned alive by any monsters or anything.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely, and don't fall off the edge of the earth.
Yes. The Earth, which is, of course, not flat, it's shaped like a burrito.
Okay, okay. So you're from the burrito. What would you call the burrito babes? Because then
There
there
you go.
there is also the banana contingent.
Hmm.
That,
No,
that
actually, I got that whole world shaped like a burrito thing from this one particular Bloom County strip. So,
recent or one of
oh no,
his.
we're talking 80s here.
Okay, I was wondering if it was
No,
back in
no,
those days
no.
when he was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
No, this was they were having this whole trial about whether or not penguin evolution is real or a lie, and then the guy who was the witness for the people who are saying that penguin evolution is a lie, he goes, penguin evolution is a fib. Also, the world isn't round; it's shaped like a burrito. So, and like the preacher dude who had him as a witness was like, shut up. So yeah,
Hiya, Pasta Babe. How
it's,
are you doing? Yeah, there was that ideological switch maybe about 50, 60 years ago, and that would go a long way to explain why King was a Republican. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. It's weird how people like the whole blue no matter who. I can't do it. I can't do it. Just can't do it.
Well, that whole blue. Hey, Upside Down Man. How you doing? The blue no matter who reminds me so much of the generation that preceded me, the slimy bastards and their siblings and, well, their parents and whatever, were the straight ticket voters. Um, my Detko, my paternal grandfather, he was, I vote Democrat because this is a democracy. Um,
Wait. Seriously, that was the rationale, was because it's a democracy, I'll vote for the candidates that have Democ in their name?
yeah, well, remember now that Detko was an immigrant to the United States from Czechoslovakia. He never really did get the very, very subtle things about politics.
I see.
Yeah, well, neither did his kids, really. They were kind of lazy as far as that goes. Well, you know, the slimy bastards were straight ticket Democrats. And then, well, when I registered as Republican in 1976, so I could vote for Gerald Ford, shoot me now, please. They were all over me with, well, you're doing this just to just to be different. You know, we're Democrats, so you're going to be a Republican, right? Um, and then, of course, when they changed over to Republican, um, they were all over me because I had changed to Democrat by then. And and here, the way it worked out, they were straight ticket Democrats because the Democrats were such arseholes when they started voting.
But by the way, thank you so much, Natcha. I will have that song in my head for the rest of the fucking day. I hate you, die in a fire.
I'm blue da bo de ba do de what?
You did, I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da da. You've never heard that? Oh my gosh, that song is so freaking catchy.
I may have heard it and not remember that I've heard it.
Okay.
I like I said, I don't get out of the house much.
Well, it's still it's. I mean, it's from a while back, but still. See, I might still have it somewhere. Let me see here. Yeah, there it is. Hold on, I'll have to turn my microphone the right way so that it's, or not my microphone, my speakers, so they're not
Uh,
just in the headphones here. Uh, Come on, you can do it. All the other computers are doing it. You know you want to. Okay, here we go. Yo, yeah, that.
okay, I will go look for it and listen through the whole thing because I don't think I'd heard of this one before.
It's I'm Blue by Eiffel 65. It's a weird song, and he just stuck it in my head. So,
Eiffel,
yeah.
as in that rather pointy thing in Paris, the Tour Eiffel.
Yes, that
Okay, okay. So I will definitely look that up. Yeah, we are talking politics, still trying to figure this stuff out. Hey, I have, well, I have not voted every election. I will have to say that, but voted enough where I know how much I don't know, which is pretty much all of it.
I'm trying to think if there's an election that I have not voted in. I'm sure there must be one. It was probably like I was in college at the time and had no idea where to go to vote or some shit. I don't know, but eh.
Yeah, Spooky Bedhair's got a point. Careful copyright strike.
Yeah, well.
But who listens to me? Come on.
Well, I mean, there's that, and it's like, uh, here's an argument could be made that this was for comment and criticism, like fair
Yes.
use style.
Hmm.
So,
Hi,
yeah.
Faye. How you doing, Faye? Hey,
Hello.
you want to jump on board? We're talking politics.
Yeah. And it's one of those cases where I'm like totally right about everything I say. So, you know,
Yeah, I have to do the really, really hard thinking because, as you do say, I mean, when you look at the hardware of it all, when you look at what we are doing to our living space, we don't have that much time left. Well, honestly, I don't know if we have any time left, but I'm going to hope that we have some.
yeah. I'll be honest, I'm surprised we haven't already seen more rumblings of armed revolt, honestly.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, maybe they're getting
okay.
stamped out before they can really get going, right?
I
Like maybe there have been several and like whatever the FBI, the NSA, whatever have seen them in time to make them stop and not make news. I don't know. But I'm surprised there aren't people out there waving signs.
Yeah, this is where I cannot say very much because I want to keep my channel and I want to keep the MIBs away from my door.
Yeah, well there's that. But no, I mean even
Bec-
just looking around, I'm surprised people aren't more angry.
yeah, well, there are a lot of people who don't know how angry I am, but
Hmm.
that's another story.
Well, okay, vocally angry, out in the streets causing a commotion angry. I'm surprised there aren't more.
Yeah. No, there have been times when I have wanted to walk up and down with a sign, but as I say, who's going to pay attention to one crazy broad? There is a what's the word for it? There is a strength in numbers.
Yeah. There's also a strength in odor if you haven't showered after rollerblading, but that's another story entirely.
Well, I can't say that I've ever not showered after rollerblading because I can't say that I've ever rollerbladed.
Well, I'm just saying.
I mean, I've thought about trying it from time to time, but I've never really got around to it.
Well,
Yeah,
it's an absolute blast as far as I'm concerned.
um, the only thing I remember is that I broke my ankle roller skating.
Oh, well, see, but roller skating is like seriously, bladers are better than quaddies. I gotta tell you, because like roller skates tend to fight you on the turns, whereas blades let you glide, and blades have their brake in the back, so you're not gonna tumble forward if you brake badly.
Well, that's what happened to me. I tumbled forward and I snapped two bones of the ankle.
Yes, you don't do that.
Yeah, I had to have some. I still carry some titanium with me.
Mmm.
Yeah, Faye, check your DM. Um, but it hasn't bothered me in airports or anything because I haven't been in an airport in a hell of a long time.
Hmm.
Well,
I would have thought that any kind of like medical metal they would use would be something that'd be okay for airports or MRIs or any of that stuff.
well, I guess there's a point beyond which it'll set the stuff off, and I'm below that point. It's just, I think it's two titanium screws holding my uh, wait a minute, the smaller bone, the fibula,
Hmm.
together. They thought they were going to have to screw the tibia together, but they didn't have to.
Well, all I know is that when I would go in for an MRI on my head, they would always ask me if I had any metal anywhere on me, right? Because, well, let's face it, that is one hell of a powerful magnet. And when I was getting the head meat surgery done, they did ask a lot about titanium. I would have thought, if I had a pin in my knee or something, that it would be made out of something that a magnet could not touch. I would have thought.
Hi, Faye.
Hello.
How you be? How you be? How you be?
Okay, how are you?
Oh, still wondering exactly how I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do on Tuesday.
What do you
But
mean?
Well, come to the voting, that sort of thing. Who I'm going to vote for and
I
how I'm
am
going to do it.
resigned to vote blue all the way.
Yeah, Kate was just talking about that.
And not that I'm thrilled with the Democrats. I'll
Well,
be
neither am I
honest.
really. Um, as Kate has said so many times, I wish there was someone I could vote for.
Yes. I'm sick and tired of voting for the lesser of two evils because I have to vote against somebody.
Well, there is
Sure.
one person I can vote for. That would be for the lieutenant governor's position here in Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, the guy I was talking about who ran for Senate in 16. He's
Hmm.
somebody I can vote for.
But
Um, but that's one out of how many?
Too many.
one thing we need to do is we need to get control of our House and Senate. So voting blue will be one step in that direction. Unfortunately, there aren't going to be any
Ow!
instant fixes.
Ooh.
Did
But
you just get like cat stabbed or something? Is that what that sound was?
I turned the wrong way on the ankle that I broke back in
Oh.
1990.
that sounds terrible.
Well,
It
here's the
doesn't
thing
happen
though, is
too
I mean,
often, but
we had a supermajority in Congress under Obama, and it didn't do us any good because he was too much of a douche about the policies he
Not
decided
the
to try
entire
for.
time.
Well, enough
yeah.
of it though, and nothing got done.
And then for at one point when the what am I looking for? There was a problem with obstructionism, even when the Democrats had majorities in the House and Senate. When Harry Reid finally decided to pull the
Oh, well,
nuclear
we're getting
trigger.
some serious distortion off your mic here.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
true.
hang on. Give me about 3 seconds.
All right.
I know where it's coming from. Okay. I guarantee you it will be better now than it was then.
Yeah.
For some
Well,
reason, when I go to the coffee machine, it distorts now where it used to be good. It used to work well. Um, but yeah, there were even problems back when there were Democratic majorities in House and Senate because you had to have the supermajorities for confirmation of federal judges, and the Tea Party Republicans were doing their obstructionism even then to where Harry Reid pulled the nuclear trigger, and everybody was telling him, "Watch it, it's going to bite you in the ass," and sure enough, it is, because that's how
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just even if we get control of the House and Senate, I don't know how much good it's going to do us because, well, I mean,
well, the
unless
difference will
unless what
be
we have in there, unless the people we have in there are people who are on our side to begin with, what does it
right.
matter?
That's why a lot of people are trying to push the newer progressive blue ticket names. The thing is, it's like if we can get control of the House and Senate, then we don't have to worry about things being a tie and then what do you call it, Pence coming in and just putting down that one vote to make things
as
go
happens so
Trump's
often
way.
when cabinet members were getting confirmed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it- to tell you the truth, because it's so neck and neck, um,
Well, it's not
Pence
even.
is,
It's
No, but I mean,
not having the majority puts Pence more in control than we want him.
no, but what I'm saying though is that even if, excuse me, wow, even if we do get control of the House and Senate, if we do that with people who aren't going to vote well, it doesn't matter. That's
yeah,
the problem. Is that the quality of the candidates matters just as much, if not more, than their party affiliation.
yeah,
Well,
and
that's when we start screaming at the Democrat Party to change.
no matter what you
Yeah.
do, that majority is only a first step. I mean, you cannot be satisfied with that. By no means can you be.
What do you mean?
You cannot say, okay, now we've got a majority, we can just sit back and rest on our laurels.
Oh no,
Oh hell no, you
I
can't.
think what has happened within the last 50 years is we've proven to ourselves that we can't be complacent, that we can't just let them do whatever, because obviously they don't get that they represent us and that they are working for us
Mm?
and not trying to line the pockets of their friends and family who have interests in whatever company or whatever stock.
Yeah, and that's
Well, and we're
absolutely.
certainly not showing them that at all because we keep voting for their dumbasses.
Exactly, but in order to get better people in position, in order to put better people in power, we have to vote every time, even if it's just for like your town, because politicians like tend to go for better seats and things like that. So we need to get rid of the whole like, oh well, he's been there for the last 20 years or whatever, let's just keep voting for that guy or don't bother. We've had someone in here in my town for 20 years. Nobody runs against him. He's horrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up in a town that was like that. The entirety of the time I spent in the city of Parma, Ohio, there were two mayors, for example.
Uh,
There was Jim Day and there was Johnny Petruska. And they basically didn't quite die in office, but damn close. Now I've got a little picture over the over my shoulder. Now you guys unfortunately can't see it. I've got to figure out a way to get my panel, if you will, to be able to see what I put up on the screen. But it's that picture that you put up, Kate, with these voted Democrat, these voted Republican, and these uh, said, okay, we're not getting represented, so you politicians could all go eat a bag of dicks.
I do not remember this picture.
It was a pie. It was a pie chart.
Oh, okay. It's probably something I put up a week or three ago. I don't know.
Well, a little bit more than that. I
Well,
think,
that's why I don't remember. You remember what I told you about
yeah,
my
about the
memory?
memory thing. I didn't know if I
Yeah.
didn't know how much you kept, or if you just had no transfer from short-term to long-term memory at all. I've got a pie chart up over my shoulder, and you've got about what was it? 63 million voting for Clinton and about 62 million voting for Trump. And then you've got 91 not voting at all, 91 million with 10 million voting for other. Um, and the main thing I'm looking at over here, if I can remember where I was trying to go with it, was um, basically the way I had been looking at it. And maybe you can tell me that it's the wrong way to look at it and why, and then maybe I can change my mind. If we, if those who want to be rational say, no, screw this, I'm either not voting or I'm not voting for somebody who is not one of the people who is intent on sending us down the tubes, um, that is basically a vote for the opposition, because those who didn't, what am I after here? I've something's happening to my head. What I'm basically after here is that 91 million pool. If we can, if we're looking for new voters, they're not going to come from the red. They're not going to come from the purple. They're going to come from that green, just to prevent, if you will, the current administration from continuing what it's doing. I'm not making any sense, am I?
Not even a tiny bit.
My head's going crazy.
Coffee?
Yeah, I think I might need some coffee. I may need some real coffee. Let's keep
I'm
this.
sure they'll
Let's
find
keep
that.
it. Let's keep this discussion going, and I'll find the words.
Trying to find this pie chart you were talking about, and I am not seeing it. How long ago was it?
Oh my word! It would have been maybe September, late September.
Oh, I'm way past that at this point on my timeline. I don't see it at all. Oh well.
Okay, yeah, it's I had it all worked out before we went on air, the what I was thinking of, and I lost it. That's the problem I've got here.
Well, I lost it years ago.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I've never
Like,
had it, honey.
Mm.
actually, we should vote. We should vote for the kitty party.
Well, there
I
you go.
would rather have a house cat at this point in office.
Hmm.
I really would. But I mean, what do I know? I do vote. I'm one of the few people I know who vote, you know, for like minor things as well. But
Well,
sometimes,
those minor
huh?
offices are not so minor.
I know, and that's why I do it, and I feel very strongly about it. But like the someone was I was talking to the other day who shall remain nameless, who is not an American, was asking me questions about like, can the next person who holds office remove or undo everything Trump did the way he's doing to what the things that Obama did. And the only thing I really had to say is, well, if they bother to, it also
Mm.
depends on the House and Senate. And how much of our government and our government's time can be sit there tied up in just undoing everything that the president before has done. Basically, Trump is just wasting our time.
Yeah, and
He's
one of the
not.
things go
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 ahead.
go. One of the things I'm so afraid of is that into the future it's just going to be like a ping pong game where okay you had Obama doing things, now Trump's trying to undo all of it, and if
Mm.
the next person after Trump happens to be from the Democrat camp again, then they'll try to undo everything Trump undid that Obama had done, and it's just going to be undo, 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 and nothing gets done.
But there has to be some way to, I don't know, make things make sense again. And the only thing I can think of is there's gonna have to be like limits,
Well, that is one thing I was thinking
severe
is that
limits,
maybe what we need for real is every office, and I mean every office has a term limit.
especially SCOTUS. I mean, let's be real about that. This
I still don't know
lifetime
why that is.
appointment.
I don't know why that's a lifetime appointment. Why could that possibly be a lifetime appointment position?
The
I don't
way I
know.
remember being told that the founding fathers had thought about that was to make it non political, which really didn't make any sense to me because Sylvia, hey,
Well, I don't think it's Sylvia's fault.
Probably not.
Pam.
um, because I mean, even back in the 30s, you had FDR threatening to pack the Supreme Court by expanding it from 9 to I think 15, and he was going to make all those new seats, his appointees. So it was political, 75 years ago. Um, so that whole non-political thing really did not make any sense to me.
So I found that pie chart you were talking about. It's
Okay,
yeah. like 65,853,625 voted Democrat, 62,985,105 voted Republican, 108,856,312 people that didn't vote either party or that didn't owe either party jack shit because they weren't being offered any fucking representation and told you're political extortion to eat a bag of dicks.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what I was thinking about was if, yeah, now I have it. Now I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. I was going the wrong direction. Okay.
Okay,
Those
let's hear it.
those who are deciding not to vote or to vote for somebody who has no chance of winning are basically coming from that blue side and making that side smaller because the red side is happy with the way things are going right now. They've got no reason to stay home. They can just cast their vote and everything will still be the way they want it to be. So the people that are staying home tend to be those from the blue side, which, as I'm looking at it, gives the vote to those who, at least statistically speaking, are trying to, I will say it, trying to destroy the democracy, supposed democracy that is the U.S. And this is why I was saying all the time, this is why we need to get out there and actually vote against the current state of affairs. Does that make any sense at all?
Yes.
And I mean, is there any better way to go about it? I mean, if there's a better way to do it, I'm all ears.
You know, I wouldn't know. Because I'm feeling very disenchanted with everything.
And that's what they're counting on. And listen to me.
Not to the point where I have apathy, but
Well,
to the point where I'm just like, what are they thinking?
well,
Do
you
they think
know,
we're this stupid?
I'm not sure. I'm not at the point of apathy. Like I said, I've already early voted, but I am at the point of let's build a fucking rocket ship and start over on Mars.
Oh, I've been there, honey.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would actually change my mind about not terraforming Mars. And it's okay, let's go ahead and terraform. It won't last all that long, but at least it'll last a few generations.
Yeah,
And
well, I mean, even if we were able to do that, I know they would not let me go just because my only skills are artistic and I'm unlikely to ever spawn. So, yeah, I
well,
won't be any good at all to the colony. That's all there is to it.
okay, we're more or less in the same boat, except that I don't have the artistic talent.
Well,
I made sure I wasn't going to spawn. I did that back in 1985.
yeah, no, I can't even imagine what the world would be like infected with a bunch of Kate spawn. That would just be wow. So, yeah.
Yeah, it you never know. It could be wow, but it could be wow.
Yeah, I'm not counting on it. Let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. If the world were flooded with my offspring, there would be the wars against punsters. We'd all be rounded up into camps and told to, play our little word games elsewhere. And yeah, it would be a horrible, horrible massacre of the Kate spawn. That's just all there is to it.
Well, I keep telling you that you've got. It sounds to me, at any rate, that you've got more going on upstairs than you think you do.
Well,
But
perhaps, but I just, let's put it this way. I have found a very unique method of committing suicide by convincing other people to kill you because of your sense of humor.
Oh.
Now, if you did go out and get a number associated with your head meats, and that's a reasonably accurate number as far as you can tell me, okay, there is a bit more of a difference than I thought there was, but you wouldn't know it by me.
When you're saying number, what you mean, like my IQ?
Yeah.
You mean the difference between now and before my head meats got
No,
fucked up with the
the
seizures?
difference between you and me.
Oh, oh. Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you know your IQ?
Yes, I do.
Because mine's around about 133.
The last time I got a number with a measurement, it was 153.
See, here's the thing, though, is you know how 100 is the average,
Yes,
right?
and the
Well,
average
if
keeps going down on an
this
absolute
is what I was
scale.
gonna say. I mean,
Yeah.
because I might be up around 150 something. It's been like 2 decades since I had that test. So for all I know, I'm now like a mega genius based on previous. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I have seen what has happened. Well, with the entrance to Mensa, as far as that goes, I got in on my SAT scores. I racked up a 1370. What was it? I think a 690 math, 680 verbal, I think. And then years later, you could not even use the SAT scores because it had all been dumbed down so damned much.
Huh.
But I watched the scores you needed, keep dumbing them down, and then finally they wouldn't even take them anymore.
You know what I wonder? Like, there's a lot of, I guess we'll say sci-fi stories, but not exclusively, where like humanity ends up separated by various classes. Yeah, whether it's rich or poor or racial
Oh, that old.
or whatever. Like that sort of thing where it's just here's the upper class, here's the lower class, here's the elite, and here's the whatever. I wonder like if there's been one that was done where humanity was separated by intelligence.
Oh, I think
Like
that's
that.
Yeah,
happening right now.
Aldous Huxley.
What you mean, like Brave New World?
Yeah, wasn't some of the separation based on intelligence or perceived intelligence?
I'm not sure if it was that overt, though.
Okay, okay. It's been a while since I've read. Shit, it's been over 20 years since I've read that book. Um,
And the truth is, like with my memory the way it is, I keep mixing it up with Fahrenheit 451 for some reason.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, yeah, you've got the intelligence link going on there because the Fahrenheit 451 was burning all the books.
yeah. But but seriously, is like I wonder if it was literally like here are people who passed a certain test, here's people who didn't, and you guys get to live up in the shiny white area, and you guys live in the dark slums,
Well, that's what I
right?
thought that's what I thought the alphas, betas, gammas, and deltas were all about. Or am I thinking of something different to Huxley?
That sounds different. I mean, I don't know. It's been a really, really, really long time since I did
Yeah,
anything with either of them, but I
because
don't
it was the
know.
alphas that ran the show, and the betas were the bureaucrats, if you will, and
Oh, but see, then I'm thinking very specifically more of a like a black or white, yes or no, this and them kind of thing, where it's
okay,
there's just that harsh dividing line of you met the requirements, you didn't, and that's it. I mean, granted,
yeah, okay.
that's much more simplified, obviously, but um, like I'm picturing something more like the Time Machine, right? H.G. Wells, where
Okay.
you get the Eloi and the Morlocks, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they all used to be like humans way back in the day. Well, what if it was like that, except the division was intelligence?
Mhm.
That's what I'm picturing.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Okay.
going on already.
I'll ask I'll ask a question. Because we seem to still be interested in talking, but it's less and less about politics. Do you want to migrate this over to an after show?
Actually, I'm thinking that it's about a half hour past Kitty's feeding time, and I'm hungry too.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to see you go, but
Well, you definitely do not want to see me go, especially like during the wiping phase.
I see.
Yes. Yes, I went there. Um, anyway, so I will catch you, Evil Geniuses, later. Have fun.
Oh, it was great talking to you. I haven't seen you
It was
around
so
lately, and I
absolute.
haven't want to bothered you post surgery because I wasn't sure about your energy level or how you were feeling.
Well, I mean, I like I've been saying for a little while, I'm starting to. I mean, I said this actually a couple of months ago, is that I'm sort of worn out a little bit.
I
I've
don't blame you.
I'm starting to actually find doing my videos a little bit boring, honestly. It's the same old stuff over and over and over, and the only reason I keep doing it, well, there's two reasons. One, well, money, but two,
Yeah.
I also do feel like there is still stuff that needs to be done. We have not I mean, the world is still at risk from people who are religious. And so I feel like I do have a certain duty to keep going, but man, I'm tired. So,
I
I don't know
understand.
if we could blame you.
and I am still a little bit recovering from the brain surgery, so that doesn't help. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to keep getting myself back out there more. Maybe it'll help when I can start exercising again. My energy level will be better. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well,
I will catch you later.
rooting for
Have
you.
fun. Have fun.
You take care, hon, and enjoy. Oh my, oh my. Okay, here we is. Um, so it's you and I right now, unless somebody else happens to want to jump in on
Volunteer?
this. Say again.
Volunteer?
Yeah, somebody wants to volunteer to hop, skip, and jump on in here, right?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, if we are going to continue on, how's it sound that we would? I could set up an after show and then keep this to about
That would
90
make
minutes.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't want it to get. I know we got off topic many times, but still, we don't want it to get too long because people won't want to watch it again as if they ever would want to watch it. Um, Ew, politics. Bleh, icky doo doo. Uh,
Yeah, what's that on the bottom of my shoe? Oh, it's political opinion.
yeah, we can talk about
Yeah.
that stuff while I try to set something up here, if I can remember how to do it. Especially since I moved some of my
Stuff.
stuff around. Yeah, I've got things reordered on my bookmarks up here where I go to do things. Um, yeah, we'll do another live stream, and at least I'm running OBS, so we can just flip on over to it. Um,
Oh, cool.
yeah, I bet you can hear all that wonderful stuff going on, right? And
Oh, I don't know
okay, there's
anything.
the my wonderful keyboard here has that wonderful clacking sound.
Pasta Babe Linda James has asked if she can join.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Pasta Babe, are we following each other on Twitter? Um, because if we are, I can just kick you over a link to get on in. Okay, we're gonna create the. There we go. We're gonna make this new thing over here, and then what we'll do. Okay, where did I end up here? Sunday stream. There we are. Look at that, will you? Look at that. And then we're going to save that. And then, okay. I'm going to put the. I'm going to put the link to the new whatever it is you want to call it. I'm losing all the words. Something's happening that I don't like, but that's another story. Okay, so now we're going to there. Yay, 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 yay. Yeah, I know. This is just going. I really should have set this up before I started, but I did not know whether or not we would go on
Continue.
to a continuation. Because I did not know how many would stop on by because I've been out of the loop for a while.
Yes, but people
And
are interested in what you have to say, and I've told you this.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
great, Apostrophe, beautiful. I will.
She is, isn't she?
Yeah, absolute. So you just followed me, so you should hopefully be near the top of the followers. Um, I am pasting. This is the link to what will become the after show, and then I'll send you off a link to get you into this stream, and we'll just migrate over to that. Oh, I'm scaring myself here. We will just migrate over to that after show. There we go. We got the words out. It's actually working. Um, oh, there you are. Look at that. Hey, 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 hey. And I is following you. And now, that way, once you check your DMs, I'm going to send you over the wonderful, absolutely wonderful link to get you into this. And then we will just migrate over. And it will be seamless as soon as I find what we're doing over here. Yay, okay. In your wonderful DM, you will find um, the link which will, upon clicking it, get you into this live chat, Aposta Babe. And okay, with that done, we've been at this for about 92 minutes. So I hope that anybody looking at this live stream in the future can manage to get some good information out of it, and maybe some food for thought to make decisions on this election, future elections, that sort of thing, just to give you something to think about. And I'm very, very thankful to Bionic Dance, to Kate, for coming aboard, and thank you, Faye, for hopping in, and you're still
Always.
here. And as soon as she finds it, Apostrophe will have the link to get into the after show. And okay, then I will go over to the controlling thing to. Yeah, sounds so controlling, doesn't it? um, all right, we'll just get over to the live control room. And ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming by. And I'm planning on making this a regular affair again, trying to keep things regular. Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And hopefully, we'll have some good topics and some good discussions. And until the next time we meet, thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.
Bye.